mean, I think he definitely can with the pieces he has. Like, he can win the weather game. He's just going to have to play his Pokemon a little differently. He's probably going to want to use that Charizard a little bit sooner, get that Mega Evolution going so that he can switch in and use Drought rather than having to switch and then Mega Evolve later. I think this is one matchup where if it plays out the way it did the previous game, having the option of getting that going a little bit sooner will probably help him. I think that he needs to avoid that freeze like in the first game. I think getting Politoed and or Ludicolo paralyzed really helps him out there. It makes it harder to get that rain dance back in with Politoed, forces it to come in and out, and it really reduces the ability of Ludicolo to sweep. So I think that he's just going to have to play the control game a little bit better now. I think he picked the right 4 Pokemon to try to do it. He's just going to have to play a little bit differently than he did the first time and maybe get a few more bounces his way. On Alex's side, he probably doesn't have to make too many adjustments there. He won that game pretty handily. I think similarly, he brought the Pokemon he should for that matchup. So it's just going to be a matter of which side can get the control of the weather, and then once they have it, can capitalize on it the quickest, because they both need to get those decisive KOs. And I think, in Ray's side too, even though he lost the first game, he did get a lot of valuable information in that game. Ludicolo and Politoed have changed since Nationals. They've learned some new tricks. And I don't know if he was expecting the same thing, but that's sort of the danger of the fact they played previously. Ray's obviously using a completely different team, so you're going to start all your assumptions over again. But with Alex using a team that looks so similar, you're kind of deceived into thinking maybe it's similar to last time. Maybe he's probably still using the same thing, but he's not.
Yeah. And we are seeing up on the screen, you can see Alex Ogloza's leads. That's Zapdos and Kangaskhan up against Ray Rizzo's Zapdos and Amoonguss. Amoonguss out on the field, probably wanted to catch both of those rain Pokemon again, but Alex adapting, showed rain, now knows that Ray has to treat it with respect, and going with another option.
Yeah, I think that's somehow you do it too. I don't think, even though it worked out very well from the previous game, he liked the way that the rain lead worked out there. It worked, but it could easily have not done so. So Ray tries to get a turn ahead of that, switching in Amoonguss immediately. The previous game, this time, Alex anticipated that Ray has better ways to play the weather game. Doesn't even start out with Politoed and Ludicolo. And by showing neither of them, you really kind of put the fear that they could be the 2 back Pokemon here. We saw at U.S. Nationals that Alex is very comfortable not using the rain Pokemon at all. But by not seeing them, it forces you to respect the option.
And we do see Garchomp coming in for Ray on his side, and Kangaskhan is going to go ahead and Mega Evolve, getting both of these Pokemon, the Garchomp and the Amoonguss, able to punish that Kangaskhan for its multiple hits with the Rocky Helmet and potentially the rough skin as well. The double edge coming right off the bat onto that Garchomp, dealing so much damage, about half HP just from a little bit more than half HP just from the first hit, and the second hit dealing a little bit there as well. Only 14 HP left on that Garchomp, but Kangaskhan does take half of its HP as well. But the Thunderbolt into that Garchomp slot, not going to be effective, of course. Immune to the electric type attacks, and the Spore does come out onto the Mega Kangaskhan. And a lot of damage on that Garchomp, but even more importantly, damage on Kangaskhan and asleep.
Yeah, I actually think I like that turn if I'm Ray. He loses the trade numerically, right? I mean, obviously Garchomp took a lot more damage than Kangaskhan did, but they aren't of equal importance. And the big part of why I think he made that switch, in addition to the fact that he was anticipating an electric move that Garchomp was immune to, is that he realized in the first game how important that Zapdos is to him, and he can't expose it to risk. Especially if those back Pokemon are rain, like I mentioned before, he has to consider that threat. Garchomp won't be very effective against those Pokemon, but Zapdos will. Very important to both because of its electric type attacks and the ability to paralyze enemy Pokemon. So he preserves it, he gets a bunch of damage and asleep on Kangaskhan. So Kangaskhan very likely won't get much more done this game. You'll definitely trade Kangaskhan for Garchomp every game if you can.
Oh, definitely. And Kangaskhan is just going to go ahead and switch out right away. Garchomp's Rock Slide isn't going to go down without a fight. Going to deal some good damage to both the Zapdos and the Ludicolo. About 50% on that Zapdos, a critical hit even, as Swagger comes out from Alex Ogloza. Like I said last time, it's not Worlds without Swagger. Onto that Amoonguss, going to make sure that Amoonguss is not going to be able to disrupt the team. Hopefully, the confusion is going to be out, but Spore onto the Zapdos slot, not affected thanks to the safety goggles. Ludicolo now out on the field against this Garchomp and Amoonguss.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps Ray anticipating a switch there. I mean, you saw the goggles the first game,
right.
So he gets that part of it wrong. But he does get a ton of damage on Zapdos thanks to that critical hit Rock Slide, and now Zapdos has to be a little more careful. I wouldn't be too surprised to see Ludicolo trying to fake it out, or fake out Garchomp and protect it this turn, but it's threatening a lot of damage now.
Yeah, Alex is definitely identifying that he needs to protect that. Zapdos switches out for the Politoed, gets the rain on the field. The first weather we've seen in this second game of the series here. Going to go ahead and boost both of the Pokemon on the field right now. Garchomp is going to just go ahead and protect itself, predicting a fake out like you mentioned, but the Ice Beam is going to come out from Ludicolo onto Amoonguss. Going to deal some good damage there, but not enough. Oh, but it does get the freeze again! just no breaks for Ray. The freeze, that's a really unfortunate move there. Amoonguss potentially able to deal some good damage back, but sometimes the rolls just don't go your way.
Yeah, I've heard it was hot and humid in DC, but it seemed like a cold day today.
Are we back in Vancouver?
Yeah, it's a year too late here. The swagger and the freeze seems to have gotten confused. We're wrong year. But unfortunate freeze for Amoonguss here. Ray just can't seem to pull any breaks there. I think, he kind of had to protect Garchomp there because of the threat of Ludicolo. He really had no choice but to kind of respect the threat of that, even if he didn't think he was going to do it. And Alex does everything you could possibly do with the free turn there. I mean, I think just getting the damage on Amoonguss for free was the right play there, but getting the freeze too, those are the breaks sometimes.
Yeah, that's a very big win for Alex. And of course, the weather is now set up for both the Ludicolo and the Politoed. Ice Beam going to come off onto that Amoonguss, deal some more damage, not just going to wait around for it to dethaw. Garchomp is going to fake thanks to that Scald, hoping to catch a Tyranitar potentially. But frozen solid, Amoonguss not able to do anything.
Yeah, and being frozen is sometimes even worse than fainting. Even though there's a chance of unthawing, just sitting on the field like that's really causing problems for Ray here. Just dead turns. It's I don't know. There's not much you can do. You just have to hope you thaw, or your opponent chooses to knock it out.
Yeah.
And sometimes, ignoring it's still dangerous. If it does wake up and just Spore, Politoed, get some big sludge bomb damage, and Ludicolo, that can be bad too. But Alex doing the right thing, getting it low but not knocking it out yet. So he can knock it out as soon as he thinks it's convenient to do so. But he's still in the meantime taking out other Pokemon, reducing Ray's potential plays, and now he's got another lead.
Yep, and Charizard is back out on the field against both of these rain Pokemon. Not the best scene for Charizard. Mega Kangaskhan coming back out, still asleep. We do see the Charizard Y, so Mega Charizard Y going to appear on the field again, get the drought up. Going to go ahead and dry out the rain, bring it back to the nice and humid DC weather. The sunlight now harsh. Ludicolo going back for the Ice Beam, going to target that Amoonguss, going to finally get it off the field. Gets the Amoonguss KO'd. No worries about it waking up now. And it looks like Charizard going to go back for the Heat Wave, but the Kangaskhan avoids the attack. So Kangaskhan going to weather this storm pretty nicely, but Ludicolo just barely hanging on. Back in the red. Tiny little slivers of HP every time. Recovers off just enough for that Citrus Berry to bring it back to a little bit of a healthy position.
Yeah, that looks like a bad break for Ray, but I actually don't know if it is. I think that, had he gotten a knockout on those Pokemon there, it's a free switch back in for Politoed. And Politoed's likely going to want to do that anyway, but it's a lot more dangerous to do so now. He can still Heat Wave this turn, which even in the rain, I guess it'd be close on Ludicolo, but Zapdos is there to help, and he doesn't have that speed boost from Swiss Swim this turn, so it actually makes this turn a lot more complicated for Alex. Not to say Ray's in a good position, because he absolutely is it, but as Alex might say, that Heat Wave miss really wasn't the illest for him.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting position here. Charizard going right for the Heat Wave, but can't land it on the Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan avoids it a second time, but the Heat Wave is going to be a KO onto Ludicolo, finally getting that Pokemon off the field. And Kangaskhan still napping, gets one turn of sleep out of the way here, and Zapdos just going to go right on the offensive. The Thunderbolt onto Kangaskhan, going to deal some good damage. Not quite the KO. Really, really unfortunate now, because Kangaskhan could wake up this next turn, possibly with a Sucker Punch. Which would deal, extra damage that you don't want it to deal when it's already at red HP.
Yeah, I mean, well, the previous Heat Wave dodge wasn't that bad for Ray. We're getting to the point where, really you need to get that out of the way. While Freeze, it can last an indefinite amount of turns, Sleep can't. There's only so long it's going to stay asleep there, and he really has too many things he need to do this turn. The play against Politoed, Ray would have liked to the first turn out. There's a protecting the Thunder Wave to make it threaten Charizard a little bit less, but they have to really tempt fate with Kangaskhan. He's not going to have a choice here.
Yeah, but he looks like he is going to tempt fate right away. Goes ahead and protects, but Scald onto the Zapdos, correctly identifying that he would not have a free shot at that Charizard, and Kangaskhan wakes up, is going to target that Zapdos, the double edge, survives with 1 HP because the Citrus Berry. Is the baby going to be enough damage on this Zapdos? 49 HP, the second hit comes through, and it is enough. Zapdos does faint, goes down. Kangaskhan going to take that recoil damage, but that's a huge knockout. That was really Ray's last best hope for this game.
Yeah, he kind of had to take that risk. He's still the odds are in his favor of Kangaskhan not waking up there, at least get the paralysis off, but nothing doing there. It doesn't happen, and I do have to give Alex credit. It looks like Ray got pretty unlucky in this series, and he definitely did, but it was still the best play by Alex. It was the second time he's had Ray in a position where he was pinned, And as a result, he was able to do some free damage because Ray had little choice but to protect, and he got some big damage off.
Yep, Ray trying to stall out the rain there with the protect is going to get scalded by the Polytoad, and that is game for Alex Ogloza. 2-0 is Ray Rizzo, three-time world champion, now moves to 2-0 in the Swiss rankings. A great match from Alex, really proving, he's been here before. He's been here in 2010, and now he's back. And he's back, and he's ready to take the whole tournament.
Yeah, I think one of the themes among the North American players has sort of been, the rising stars replacing some of the old veterans, and it looks like that's kind of what's happening a little bit there. There wasn't a whole lot Ray could have done in those games. He was playing well, but just anytime Alex got a free turn, not only was he making the best play, which I think we have to emphasize here too. He was using those free turns to target the correct Pokemon, but in addition to that, he was getting the bounces too. And when your opponent's playing that well and you're getting the bounces like that, you're going to win a lot of games.
Yeah, that's exactly right.